Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and some more Planet Zoo. We are back in my franchise zoo, Riverside Zoo, and we are going to be playing around with the brand new DLC today, the Africa DLC, which just came out, and we're going to be adding an entire new area into the zoo. Now, this wasn't an area that I really wanted to kind of work on just yet. Like, I had plans for the area to add it as this huge thing, but I knew for a fact this was going to be such an expansion to the zoo that it was going to take a lot of time and it was going to be a lot of effort on my part to build everything I needed to build. So, unfortunately, and I guess fortunately, because I mean the DLC turned out to be great, Frontier just announced like last week that there would be brand new DLC for the game, and it would be Africa DLC, including Meerkats, Fennec Foxes, tons of new build pieces. So the pack was already off to a great start than the last one, and nothing specifically wrong with the last park, or the last DLC. It just didn't have any build pieces in it, and therefore it wasn't worth the money to me specifically. Now the animals that it included were fine, but I just didn't really have a use for them, so I actually passed on the last DLC. This DLC, though, I definitely picked it up as soon as I woke up yesterday morning, at the time I'm recording this video anyway, and I absolutely loved the DLC. I took a look at it. If you want to see, if you haven't already purchased it and you want to find out what my thoughts and stuff are on that DLC, you can always check out my other video I did where I take a look at all the different pieces and stuff, and yeah, I'm pretty much gushing on Frontier in this one because there's so much awesome stuff in it and so many little detailed pieces and small pieces to work with and stuff. So, but yeah, as I said, they kind of forced my hand by releasing this DLC, and I kind of, at this point, have to kind of go with the flow like everybody else is and build the Africa section of my zoo. So I had to kind of figure out 100% what I was going to do. And I only had kind of some passing thoughts originally on what I wanted to do with this section, and I had to kind of fully flesh it out in order to do this build, because I don't have enough time to do everything that I want to do. So I'm going to have to take it in sections, and the first being kind of what you guys are going to be seeing in this video today. Now, I completely understand if you guys think the video is a little too sped up, it's a little too fast. I completely 100% apologize about that. My first go through with this video, it was 43 minutes long, and I ended up having to go back through and find a way to cut it down to half of that, or at least close to half, as best as I could. And that part of that was having to speed the time lapses up a little more than what I prefer. So hopefully it's not too bothered by that, and you guys enjoy it anyway, are happy with it, and are happy with the build that I show. So as I said, I had to kind of fully flesh everything out, and I have been working on, like, ever since they announced the DLC, I have been really going into detail and like researching a lot of the different stuff and things and trying to figure out how I was going to do this. I have looked at a ton, I mean so much concept art and so many zoos. I've watched a ton of videos on African sections in other zoos like San Diego Zoo. I know Denver Zoo is doing like this huge new master plan for their entire Africa section, which looks gorgeous. So many awesome ideas that I will probably be using in my zoo here from that. They have this really cool, what they call the baobab. I think that's how you pronounce that tree name. But anyway, it's called the baobab experience, which is really amazing. And I saw the concept art of it, and I was like, oh, I want that. But it kind of clashed with some other things I wanted to do. So I've basically spent the entire week, instead of actually building, mostly just researching stuff. And then the last couple of days before the DLC came out, I actually went in and I started kind of doing some construction work. And one of that was actually having to get all the land and stuff ready. So that was a feat in itself, just to carve out the area. Originally, I wasn't going to put it over where I put it. I was going to put it on the right-hand side of the map. but considering we need such a huge area for what I want to do, the best idea was to put it on the left-hand side of the map. And there's a lot of space over here, and it kind of works with some other plans. So we're going to sort of connect the Africa section and have it kind of lead into the Outback section, which I never got around to doing when the Australia DLC come out, which the Australia DLC is high on my list of favorite DLCs for this game. My top 3, in no particular order, because I don't know if I could put them in an order. The Australia DLC, because it did add the kangaroos and koalas, which are animals that I really wanted to see. The Aquatic DLC, because that was a huge game changer. It added penguins, it added swimming animals, it added deep diving. And then this update here, which adds a ton of just detailed pieces and stuff to work with, and it fleshed out more of the aquatic stuff, such as adding the ability for bears and stuff to dive and swim better, and lots of other little things that it added into the game, which I really like. And the animals, I mean, it added the meerkats, it added more penguins, and you can't go wrong with more penguins. Anyway, I'm digressing as I'm talking here. So what I'm sort of building here, what you first saw me build was this waterfall kind of entrance, which I sort of got that idea from the San Diego Zoo, because in their Africa Rocks section, they have a waterfall that you can kind of walk under. You don't necessarily have to, and it's the same for my zoo. You don't necessarily have to. And then what I'm building now, well, not necessarily on the screen right now at this second, but what you just saw me building, the little huts and working around with the buildings and stuff, those are going to be fleshed out much better a lot later on. I'm going to throw up a picture right here of kind of, in just a second, of what I kind of got the idea from. But it's basically some concept art of this hotel on the edge of a savanna in Australia. I don't know if it's like a zoo hotel or what it is. It was just concept art that I found. And it was just kind of drawings. And I really liked the overhead look of it and how it looked, because it was like this center building. And it had these 3 points that stuck out from it with other buildings. And I didn't actually realize, excuse me, I didn't actually realize that the building itself was a hotel, because when I was looking down at it, when I first saw it, I just thought it was these lookout buildings. And that I really love this concept art, so I decided to go ahead and put that into the game. So my zoo would consist of these kind of lookout points that kind of stretched out into the savanna. And then I had to mix this in with the baobab, however you pronounce that tree. I had to mix it in with that and try to figure out how I could make both of these work and put them in here, and then how to mix everything else in. What the transition into this area would look like. So I decided that the transition would be from the part of the park, or the zoo. I always say park because I'm too much on Planet Coaster. I play a lot of Planet Coaster more than Planet Zoo, so I always say park. But the idea is, from where it's at, is where the peacocks and stuff are, and the red pandas, which I think I might end up moving the red pandas, possibly. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But that section up there is where it comes off of, and we was going to have it split off of that. And then I thought, okay, so let's have it split here where you can go into the Australia area or you can go into the Africa section. And let's start the Africa section out by having to go through the Congo. And that's where our gorillas and monkeys and other animals and stuff that live in the Congo are going to be. And this video is not about that, though. So from there, once you walked through the Congo, you would come to the end, and then you would come out in this huge open area, which would be the start of the savannah area. So this is sort of a copy, I think is what they call them, which is another idea I got from the San Diego Zoo, because they have a section that they just call it the copy, and it's rather small, but there's a lot of animals and stuff in it. And a copy is just like this little mountainous hill in the savannas of Africa. And I thought it would be kind of a good transition from the Congo to go to a Kopi and then into the savannah. So you would go left, right, or center. Center would come through the cave where you would come out by the waterfalls that I did earlier in the video. And then these would be some of the habitats that we're going to see here. So again, I didn't have enough time to do all the things I really, really wanted to do in this area. So it's going to be a multi-part series. We're going to flesh out so much of this area and try to do a lot of detail work and stuff. But it all starts with this right here. And I'll go back into the Congo later. We'll do the gorillas, which are going to be the biggest attraction in the Congo, obviously. Unless you're more into monkeys, and then you'd have those, or, you know, whatever. But I wanted to play around with the new DLC animals. I wanted to play around specifically with the Fennec Foxes, which are so adorable, and the Meerkats, which are just amazing and hilarious to watch. Their behaviors and stuff, and the digging and everything is just so fun to kind of sit and watch them. And I wanted to add those in here. But the problem was that trying to find any decent enclosures or habitats that zoos have done for these animals was a task in itself. Like I said, I've been looking at concept art and stuff for the last week, and some things just popped right out. As soon as I saw them, I was like, yes, I need this. I need to put this in the zoo. I'm going to do something very similar to this, and this is what it's going to be. But things like the Fennec Fox and the Meerkat habitat, I mean, they're everywhere. Like, all the zoos are just so simple, and nothing really popped out to me. It's like, how can I make an amazing build look really cool and plan a zoo using these two animals? What kind of habitat can I just really go into and really kind of flesh out and work on it and make it look just amazing? And unfortunately, I was not able to find any real good concept art. I did find, thanks to Pinterest, I did find a lot of photos of small animal enclosures and also meerkats and just like Africa sections of zoos and stuff that kind of all blend together and kind of make up what I'm kind of doing here. Specifically what I'm building right now, which is this little pergola, I think is what you would call this. I wanted just kind of this beamed roof, and then I kind of wanted it to be curved, like a kind of like a half moon. And I wanted that to be where like the visitors and the guests and stuff would stand underneath this and look into the enclosure. And from that, just this one picture I saw of that was like, yes, I want to do this. So then I just was like, I don't know how I'm going to do the inside of this. And even as I'm building what you're seeing me build right now, even as I'm putting that together, it still just, it didn't really work for me. And I was like, I just don't know how I'm going to do this enclosure. And I think a lot of the problem was where I'm playing in franchise mode, I don't have any control over what I have. In fact, while I was building this, I completely forgot that I didn't even have the Africa pieces until I researched them. So I had to stop in the middle of building because I was like, why are these pieces not in the game? Where is this piece? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I have to research that. So then I actually had to let the game play out for a while my mechanics and my vets and stuff researched the animals and the different packs and stuff. So then I finally got the DLC or most of the pieces and stuff unlocked, but I don't have any of the awesome enrichment items that you get. There's these really cool kind of logs that the foxes and the meerkats and stuff can kind of they go through and play with, and there's probably other things too. I just know for a fact there's these logs. So I don't really have any of those. So it was really kind of hard to design a habitat around things that I didn't actually have, because those logs are going to be a huge part of the build, and I just didn't have them. So I just pretty much just threw it together. But the most important part of it, though, and I think what really makes the build, was the first section that I did. Not necessarily the actual enclosure where the animals are, but more or less the viewing area from the guests, and having that little circular area with the with the drapes over top of it, and I kind of gave them some bright colors to kind of really make it stand out. And I think that really worked rather well. And my idea is that I'm going to kind of put this together, and then I'm going to copy this and put this on the other side of the waterfalls. So both the meerkats and the fennec foxes would have almost identical habitats, minus the inside. So both of these would be very different on the inside. For the foxes here, since they're such tiny little animals, I thought let's put some rocks and stuff kind of in the middle that they can climb up on, and the guests would be able to see them a lot better. So, and then I was just kind of going through props and stuff, and I found that drum right there that I actually just now placed. And I thought, I was just imagining like sitting here and watching the fennec foxes from being a guest in the zoo and watching them play around with each other and stuff, and like play fight and things. And I imagine them just kind of like jumping on the drum and being like really attracted to the drum and stuff, and they're like, oh, what's this? And you know, like curiosity and stuff. And it's kind of what I was thinking. And I also wanted to put this out here too, because again, I wanted to use a lot of the pieces, a lot of the new pieces and stuff from the new Africa DLC. So we've got these like big statues and stuff, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to do that. So what I ended up doing was taking one of the regular fountains that we have in the game, and then I used these little tile pieces that we got, and I was coloring them with kind of like African colors to try to make it kind of stand out a little bit, and putting them onto the base of this fountain to give it more of an African feel and to give it more color, because unfortunately the fountains aren't recolorable. They're only this kind of like off-white, and that's it. That's all you can do. Very, very much a concrete color. It would be great if they added the functionality to that to be recolored later on, because a lot of pieces in Planet Coaster weren't recolorable in the beginning, but later on they added recolorability to that. Not, I say a lot, not a lot of pieces, but a few, more than a few. We'll put it that way. They added recolorability to them much later on. So we just finished the Fennec Fox enclosure. I blueprinted it and then moved it over here, and I had to play around with the ground and the hillside and stuff to make this fit. So we're just going to take the piece here, and from the pergola basically that I made. I don't really know what else to call that other than a pergola, because that's kind of what I know it as. But the overhead viewing area there, I took that and attached it to it because it didn't blueprint that as part of it. So we take this, we put it over here, and then completely just empty out the entire enclosure. We're going to redo the rocks and stuff that make up the background of this. And this is really, with the meerkats, is really where I had the biggest issue, because I didn't just want to do an exact copy of the Fennec Fox enclosure. So I was like, how am I going to do this? And not having those logs and other things, I don't even have the termite mound. So I was like, I don't know what I'm going to put in here. But I was just trying to mess around with the rocks and stuff and try to make them a little different and a little bit of a different look while staying kind of similar and stuff. So they're not exactly identical, but they sort of are, if that makes sense. And then I was kind of thinking, you're going to see me work on this in a minute, so I might as well just go ahead and talk about it now. So for the interior of this, I was just kind of started throwing things together. My first thought was, since in the Fennec Fox area I put rocks and stuff out there, well, the meerkats, they love to dig, and it's a whole new mechanic, and I really wanted to show off this mechanic and have them dig. But I didn't want the entire area to be just flat. So I was thinking, what if we take and kind of make it bumpy and kind of make like these mounds of dirt, kind of like if the zookeepers and stuff just brought in like wheelbarrows of dirt and soil and just dumped it in here, right? And then that way the meerkats and stuff would have something they could play on. And at first I was going to try to make it kind of just maybe put some rocks in it or something, and just kind of make it kind of a little rocky mountain or mound. And then as I got to playing around with it more, I was like, I think I have an idea here. And a few of these things that I put in, I don't even know if the meerkats are going to even work on. Like what I'm doing right now, I kind of took a ledge, and then I wanted to take some of those climbable pieces and put them in there and see if maybe they would use that ramp to climb up on the ledge and kind of just look out at things. Because, you know, the meerkats usually have like one lookout who looks out for the rest of the guys as they forage and or do whatever they've got to do, but they usually have one that will kind of just be standing on the lookout. And this is mostly what meerkats are kind of known for, and their hilarious little behaviors and stuff. And I kind of thought it would be funny if one of them was up on top of that little ledge and was kind of like standing as they do as a lookout. So again though, I don't know if they're actually going to use that climbable piece. I haven't seen them do it yet, so they probably won't. And then since I didn't actually have the termite mound as the enrichment piece, and which is fine because it's not actually really that even nice looking with a termite mound, I kind of took the tree trunks from the aquatic pack and I made my own kind of termite mound in there. So again, I'm just kind of copying pretty much what I did from the other side and kind of put it in here with the statue and stuff, except instead of a Fennec Fox statue, we're going to take the meerkat statue we got and put it up there. And then I just kind of colored him up a little bit. And yeah, so let's go into a live view now and let me show you the actual end results. Alright, so here we are live in the zoo now and kind of overlooking the peacocks. I always like to kind of come up here and take a look around at everything else before I head over in there. There's nothing really new to show up in this section, but I wanted to give you an idea of where the Africa area is going to be located, where we're coming from, etc., etc. I also did say in the video earlier that I would mention doing something with the red pandas. So this is our red panda enclosure, and I love it. I really, really do. But I'm kind of thinking now that we're putting the African section over here, it doesn't really fit too well, and I think we may end up having to move it. But I don't know what else we would put here, to be honest. Yeah, I really don't know. So one thing we are going to do is, this is kind of what I'm thinking. So we are over here by the reptile center right now, and we're going to be coming down into here. So as you enter into this section, you will be given two choices. You can go left, and that over there is going to be our Australia section. And then this is going to go into Africa, starting with the Congo. So you would go into the Congo first. And then I'm thinking right here, originally I had planned to put the African penguins here, but then I got to thinking it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to put the penguins here because I want to put lemurs somewhere. Lemurs are Madagascan, but Madagascar is part of Africa, and I kind of feel like we need to put them somewhere in this general area. So this really is the only place that makes sense. So we're going to sort of do like a lemur attraction here, and that will be coming later on. And then we're going to head into the Congo area. Now, I'm not going to talk a whole lot about this because we're probably going to make that maybe the next video, I think. So once you come to the Congo, and yes, I know it needs to be a lot more jungle. It's not jungle-y enough. It's not Congo enough. But it will be. So as we come down into this section, you'll have a couple different ways you can go. You can go left, you can go right, and there will be an area that goes down into that cave that I built towards the beginning of the video as well. So we will do that. Across the bridge, there will be an exhibit right here that you're crossing over top of. See, I already have like all these plans. And then we have our unfinished buildings here. So we'll flesh these out a lot more much later on. But let's take a look at what the big thing was today, and that was the Fennec Foxes and the Meerkats. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm extremely pleased with how this came out. In the beginning, I had no idea how I was going to make this work, what it was going to look like, and in the end, it's absolutely beautiful. I'm patting myself on the back right now because I really love how this turned out. I'm probably going to do a little bit more work around in the area and stuff though, so we're going to flesh it out a bit more. I always say flesh it out, but you know, you guys, we're going to do some more detail work essentially and kind of really make it a lot nicer. As we get more research and stuff done on the foxes, they will get some more enrichment items, and their enclosure may change up a little bit. I did unlock one thing. Oh, then keepers need to come and get the food and do something with that. I did get the curio ball, so one of them was kind of playing with that, but he's not really doing much with it. But these guys are just so adorable. These big floppy-eared guys right here. So I've got two of them in here. I have a male and a female. So I'm hoping they will end up mating and we get some more. I did go cheap on these because when I first opened up the animal trade thing, because I play in franchise mode. This is franchise mode is what I'm playing in. So I only have the option to see franchise mode. That's it. And I don't have, like, sandbox mode, you have a lot more options as far as, like, oh, he's playing with the water. Now he's standing on the sprinkler. But anyway, he's shaking the water off. I just enjoy watching these guys so much. This is why I like this game, is just watching the animals and stuff. And I love the building aspects and stuff of it. And I know I didn't originally enjoy this game when it first came out, but they've done a lot of work to it, and I find it to be a lot more playable now than what it used to be. But anyway, yeah, so in franchise mode, I don't have a lot of options as far as, like, I can't control the weather. I only have so much money, which I'm getting, which we're doing pretty good on money. I can afford to buy most things. I'm assuming every $1,000 in the game is actually $1 million. So this entire kind of savanna and African area that we're going to be building is probably going to be, say, sponsored by some corporation. That corporation will most likely be one of my Patreons. So I'll probably put, like, I'll make up a fake business for this one. Maybe we'll say the Africa section was maybe brought to you by, I don't know, Mist Soda or something. I don't know. We'll think about that later on. If you guys are interested in sponsoring this section and you're not already a patron, then, you know, check that out. Just another little thing that I'm probably going to add for my Patreon supporters, just to give you thanks. And I do want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. I also can't control the time of day, so, you know, can't control weather, can't control time of day. And I can't control just being able to get any animal I want off the marketplace. So I have to kind of use conservation points or money to buy them. So these guys were the best I could get. They're not great, but they were cheap. And when I first opened up the Animal Trade Center, there were people selling these things for 50,000 conservation credits. I mean, scalpers in real life is one thing, but do you guys really have to scalp the animals in Planet Zoo? Like, seriously? 50,000, 10,000. The prices were outrageous, but yeah. So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to point that out, and that was something I noticed. But I sorted through it, and then I found some little cheaper guys there. So, luckily, Frontier gives it the ability to, you can buy them with cash, and they just don't have the strongest stats, but we'll breed them into being strong animals. Alright, and then our beautiful waterfall area here, which I'm probably going to put some banisters up, some railings and stuff up through here, and I think that will look a lot better. And we're coming over here, that little baobab tree. I just really like how this came out. I think it's going to look, again, when we get the whole area done, it's going to look really, really nice. It's getting dark on us, so let's head over here to the Meerkats. Now, the Meerkat area, I didn't get an opportunity to kind of point this out, but I had decided to kind of make it look like maybe this was an old dig site or something, like an archaeological dig. He's popping out of the hole. That's so cute. All right, but it was like an archaeological dig that maybe had been abandoned, and since the Meerkats just love dig, I thought maybe they'll take over this dig site. So, and then there's the termite mound that I kind of custom built, and that's the general idea. Because in in Africa, termites make these big, huge mounds and stuff in most deserts, I guess, but mostly, I guess, they're prominent in kind of Africa. It is getting dark on us, so we do have to hurry. But they have these huge kind of termite mounds, and that was kind of what I was trying to recreate, just simply as fast as I could to kind of make that. The termite mound that you get for the animals in the game isn't that amazing looking, so it's just kind of it almost looks like a plastic rock, which isn't great, and I just kind of wanted to do something else. So I think this turned out pretty good though. And then I put this wheelbarrow here too. Again, I don't think they're going to use the wheelbarrow, the cart here, to kind of climb up onto this rock. I'm pretty sure I still have yet to see them climb up there. But I would like to get those hollowed out logs and stuff for our meerkats at some point as fast as I can and add them in there. So, and he's pooping. So, yeah, meerkat pooping. Yep, they do that. This one over here is keeping an eye out. Watching to make sure, you know, he's like, you go ahead and take a dump. I will watch out for you. Make sure nobody else is looking. Of course, we're going to have all the guests and stuff over here, which there's no guests right now at the moment because this is a long area to kind of walk down here, and it's dark. All right, but that's going to do it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this build video. I had to redo it because the original turned out to be way too... now it's raining. Anyway, the original video turned out to be way too long. It was taking YouTube forever to render, and I really wanted to get it up as fast as I possibly could. So I looked at it and I was like, I think I can cut this down. So that's what we did. I'm going to head out of here. I'll leave you guys with some B-roll footage real quick of some of the animals and stuff. But I hope you've enjoyed this build. I hope you've enjoyed my video. I hope you will subscribe for more if you're not. And if you want to see more from me and know when I post another video, hit that notification bell when you're subscribing. That way you'll always be, well, most of the time you'll be notified of when I go live or when I post another video. And yeah, comment, like, let me know in the comments down below what you think of the build. Let me know any thoughts that you have. And every comment helps the video get seen by more people. Every like helps the video get seen by more people, so don't forget to hit that like button either. I'm out of here, wherever you guys are in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. See you later.